is more part of probably a malting barley target project, where there's a set of national trials where we're just trying to look at sort of the reaction of different barley varieties to nitrogen and to seeding rate. So there's 8 varieties here. We've got Westminster, Flinders, Latrobe, Compass, Commander, Bull Oak, Oxford, and one other, Granger. So I suppose barley in this area, the first box you need to tick if you want to grow barley is check that soil acidity. I think here we've seen a bit of differentiation in the varieties. Some of them seem to be doing quite well, but there's Latrobe especially seems to be suffering a little bit from maybe a bit of subsoil acidity. So I think I said here that the topsoil pH was about 6, I think, but I'd be assuming there's probably a little bit of acidity underneath, and that's acidity that probably doesn't worry canola and probably doesn't worry wheat, but barley is quite sensitive to that. You can see Latrobe up here is quite up and down compared to a lot of the other varieties. There's a couple of varieties, I suppose in a grain court system, we'll probably see varieties like Latrobe, if it makes malt, which is basically a clone of High Marsh except for a bit better grain quality. Latrobe type varieties should be popular, and also potentially say the Compass or Commander. There's a couple other varieties we'll put in this trial here. The first 2 are right here. If for anyone sort of targeting malt barley markets, these are probably in this rainfall environment right here. I'm not talking once we go sort of 40 kilometres west of here, but in high rainfall or relatively high rainfall zones, there's 2 varieties here that could have a bit of a fit for malting, but they will be sort of niche type varieties that you'll have to sort of source your own sales with. They're not going to be something you're going to be able to take to the local silo. They'll have to be done on your own sort of contract specification. So Westminster is it's got some European background in it, and stands up pretty well. That's one thing you want to target as well in barley varieties here. And one thing that's been really improved in the breeding of barley over the last 7 or 8 years, barley breeding has really come ahead a fair way. And then Flinders is the other one here, and it's a really good quality malt, but will also stand up quite well. And it's really made for these sort of high yield potential sort of zones, I suppose. Latrobe is the one just here. If it makes the malt classification, it will be a very widespread variety west of here and north and west of here, and I think it'll be fairly dominant. In our trials we've got at Malting this year, sowing time there's a little bit of frost from the first sowing date, but from the second sowing date it was about 4.5 tonne to the hectare. The next best, High Marsh was about equal, and that's pretty much what we've seen, that they've been about neck and neck. The next best after that was Compass. So it's a potentially new malt variety as well, and it's up through here as well. But in those sort of cut-off springs, Latrobe and High Marsh, the yields that they've been able to maintain when wheat might be doing 2.5, 3 tonne a hectare, and those sort of barley varieties are doing 4 to 4.5 tonne a hectare. So they've really been able to hold on. And part of the advantage has been that they've been able to be flowering much earlier in spring than when the wheat varieties are flowering